next guest. He is Orange All-American midfielder Sam English. Sam, thanks so much for hopping on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, Sam, you've played two just nutty ball games here the last 2 weeks with Harvard and Princeton. Does anything stand out here? Does it all blurred together? What have these 2 weeks been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just done. No matter how, no matter what way, no matter what the score looks like, as long as we're up by 1 at the end of the game, that's the only thing that matters. And just being able to pull these ones out, I think it's been huge for our team.
Do you ever catch yourself during the game being like, this game's nuts, or does that pass you by until it's over?
That's a good question. I think I didn't realize how nuts the game was, I guess, until we watched the replay of it when we got home. My parents would be like just telling me how crazy it was, and when you're in it, you kind of you're playing and you're just waiting for the next play, and that's all you're really thinking about.
I'm thinking back to the Princeton game, and obviously it's just bonkers. 19-18 is not supposed to happen in the quarterfinals, but it certainly did. And, you guys are going back and forth there in the fourth quarter. I think you guys hit 4 pipes in like a minute and a half, which I also didn't realize until watching it again on Sunday. Did that add up in your head at the time? Did you realize how close things were at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were up 16-11 at one point, and I think we kind of all knew that Princeton was going to make a run, and that we were in the same spot the week before where we were down by 5 with not a lot of time left. So we knew that game was going to be close no matter what. And those pipes, you can feel them add up, and you can feel how just kind of close we are. It gives you, they suck when they happen, but it gives you a sense of confidence, and a sense of, and a feel that we're able, and we're still in this thing, and that we can put the ball in the back of the net at any time.
How did you guys avoid discouragement? I guess either week. Harvard, you're down 5 in the fourth. That's not ideal. And then you mentioned it. You were up 5, and that lead goes away, and all of a sudden you're down 1 in the fourth. How did you avoid? It's easy to drop your head, right? But it felt like you guys never did that.
Yeah, just belief. We got a bunch of guys in this locker room that believe and that we have faith in. I think the culture of this team has grown exponentially in the last 3 weeks, and I think we think we can win any game we're in. I think this team has learned how to win in that time, and I think just never getting down, staying belief, staying positive, staying up, it has been huge for us.
Sam English is our guest. All right, Sam, it's easy to say all the right things in the lead up to the game against your old team that you had last week in Princeton. Now that it's happened, what was that like for you, playing against guys that you had played with before?
Yeah, I think I was definitely nervous and anxious going into that game. But the first 5 minutes, it's a little weird, and the warm-ups are a little weird, and seeing that team and that color on the other side is different. But after the first 5 minutes, you kind of realize you're just in another game, and you're playing for and with the guys that are on your sideline. And that's the only thing that really mattered at that time. It was weird for maybe 5 minutes in the game, and then you kind of realize you're just trying to win a lacrosse game.
And one of the main guys on your sideline every day, certainly last Saturday, is the guy wearing 22, and that's Joey Spallina, who, considering circumstance, I've got to put that up there as the best game of his career. And we all heard his post-game interview and the emotions pouring out there. What did that mean? What did that show you about your guy Joey on Saturday?
Yeah, he's an animal. I think that's something. I don't think that game changes how anyone kind of feels about him. He's one of him and Hiltzy are our guys, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and we trust them at any time. And that was just another day in the office that we've seen, and that I think the Syracuse players know and have seen before, and know that he's capable of it. But for him to go and do that on the biggest stage and on one of the best defenders in the country, it was big for him, and it's big for our team.
I don't think it's like internal, right? It's not like you guys are putting pressure on him in the locker room, but he knows the deal. He's wearing 22 at Syracuse. He was the number one recruit. Like you guys all hear it, everything that comes at him from the outside. How tough is that to handle from his perspective? Like everything that lands on a guy in that position.
Yeah, I mean, I think I played at two different programs now, and I would say Syracuse is one of the hardest places. It's amazing, and you have all of it, and there's the history, but it is one of the hardest places to play, and be a player for in the country. And I think him also having the burden of 22 and the number one recruit, and hopefully him being the guy to help bring this team back to its glory is hard. And I think he's done a good job this year, especially, and over the years I've known him of growing just as a player, as a person, and kind of making that number his own, and making this team our own and our own identity that kind of hopefully stands out and isn't just, I don't know, I don't know. It's tough, and we're trying to avoid the is Hughes is back kind of talk, where we're just kind of doing our own thing, and the only thing that matters is the 53 guys in the locker room.
Yeah, that was the next thing I want to ask you about, Sam, because at the beginning of the year, I mean, it's been the talk for years, right, around here, and then along with that is Final Four or bust and all that, and you guys got away from talking about it, I don't know, probably after the first Harvard game, right, and started focus on winning the day and everything we've heard you guys talk about for the last 2 months. Well, now Final Four or bust. Now it is Final Four, right? Like you've at least accomplished the first part of that goal. Do you allow yourselves to acknowledge that at this point, or is it still trying to keep to what got you to this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think you acknowledge the fact that we're here and that this is something special, and you kind of have to soak that in and live in the moment a little bit, but also understand that the goal is to win the next game. It's nice to be a part of it, and it's cool that we get to go, but we're not just kind of happy to be there. We aren't going to Boston to participate in a Final Four. It's a business trip for us, and we got one job in mind, that's to beat Maryland.
And yeah, the next game is Maryland here, Sam, and we know they've been the best program in the country here for the last 15 years, I'd say, give or take, and they have done very well on this specific stage. You played them at Princeton in this game 3 years ago, which unfortunately for you was probably the best team they had of this whole run. What do you, when you look back, what do you take of your first Final Four experience that you can bring into this game on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think Princeton was in a similar spot where it's a story program that hadn't been there in a long time, and it felt like almost like we weren't happy to be there, but the job was it was just a different feeling. We went into that game knowing it was one of the best teams that Maryland had ever put together, and I think that was a tough hill for us to climb, and I think it's just. I think the message I'm trying to speak to this team, and that we're all kind of trying to talk about it, is that we're not just happy to be there, and we want to go and we want to win, and that's the goal. It's nothing less than that for us.
What's the challenge of this game stylistically, Sam? I mean, we know you guys would prefer to play a game like Saturday, right, against Princeton, where it's wide open, it's running gun, it's crazy lacrosse. And we know Maryland would prefer to do anything but that, right, the direct opposite. How do you see the styles meshing in this game on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably going to fall somewhere in between. I think we've proven in the last few weeks that we can win a game in any sort of way. We won a 9-8 game against Duke the week before the tournament, and I think whatever kind of way the game plays out, I think we can handle it, and we got the guys for that. I think for us, just making sure we kind of slow it down a little bit and not playing. They're going to try to speed us up, and they're going to hold the ball when they get the ball, and so I think for us, just being patient and letting the game come to us is going to be huge.
I'm glad you mentioned that Duke game, because that game stands out as one where you did specifically win, and very intentionally so, right? Won a game that was played in a different style. It was the second game in 3 days. Like, there was a lot of reasons for it. What did that Duke game tell you about your ability to win games in multiple ways? Yeah,
I mean, exactly that. I think Coach O keeps saying it, and he keeps pressing that fact that we won a 19-18 game last weekend. We won a 12-11 or 13-12 game where we had to come back from 6 goals And the week before that, we won a 9-8 game in a rock fight, and where our defense stood tall, and Jimmy McCool played on his head. It just, exactly that. We can win a game in any sort of way, and if our offense isn't scoring goals, our defense is going to have our back, and vice versa.
Yeah, Sam, and we wrap up with this idea. Like, you still have a lot of lacrosse in your future, right? You're a very high draft pick in the PLL and the indoor league and the whole thing. But this, regardless of how Saturday goes, Saturday, Monday, it is going to be the last couple of college lacrosse games you got here. How does that hit you as you head toward your last chance at this?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to think about, and I don't know if it's fully hit me yet that this will be my last weekend. But I mean, I think this place is special, and Syracuse is special, and I'm glad that I got to spend 2 years here and be with this team. I think I came in here just because of the history and because of the aura around Syracuse lacrosse. But as I've been here for 2 years, it's the community, it's the school, it's everything, it's the team and my teammates, and it's been a special experience that I'll remember forever.
All right, Sam, appreciate the time as always. Best of luck this weekend, and thanks so much for hopping on today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, there he is, Sam English, Orange All-American midfielder. Again, Cuse and Maryland, the second of the two national semifinals on Saturday. Cornell and Penn State at noon. Syracuse and Maryland is scheduled at 2:30. Yeah, that ain't. What time did the game face off last Saturday? It was like 3:15 or